I was in a charity shop the other day and I noticed these 8-track cartridges for sale, and seeing them there reminded me that somewhere in the depths of my garage at home I had an old 8-track cartridge player which I've never used and never really even looked at in any detail because I've never had any cartridges to play in it. So they didn't have a price on these, so I asked them how much they wanted for them and they said 50p each, so I said, well, okay, I'll take all of them then please. So I got all 9 of these cartridges for a total of £4.50. And when I got home, miraculously, I actually managed to find the old 8-track player. It's looking a little bit the worse for wear, a bit tatty. I don't think it was in particularly good condition when I got it, and it's been kicking around in my garage for probably over a decade, so it's probably not going to work, but now I look at it in more detail, I notice it's actually a quadraphonic player, so you can have 2 channels or 4 channels, and it's got 4 discrete speaker outputs. It's a Radio Mobile or Radio Mobile model 109QS. Now, before I even try and power this up, I'm going to open it up and have a look at the belt, because that's probably the most likely thing to have failed. So I'll just move the cartridges out of the way temporarily, give myself a bit more room to work, and I think probably the bottom panel is most likely to give us access to the belt. Oops, there goes the front. Hopefully that's not broken. Oh, dearie me. Oh, we can see the head in there. That's definitely a 4-track head. At this point I spent several minutes fruitlessly trying to pull the chassis the wrong way out of the casing, so I won't bore you with all that footage. I'll skip to a point just before I realise my mistake. Blimey. Oh! Wait a minute, that's not going to happen, is it? Because this is tapered there. Of course it's going to have to go backwards, isn't it? Oh dear. I'm a bit of an idiot really, aren't I? It's going to have to come out backwards. There we go. And when you pull it the right way, it comes out easily. Oh dear. Well, there's the gubbins. And there's the belt, which remarkably is actually intact, albeit very slack. I'm not sure that's really going to work. But I mean, it's probably good enough to give it a try, isn't it? And it actually goes that way up, so we can see the belt from the top quite nicely. And this, presumably over here, will be the changer mechanism. That's probably all going to need greasing as well. So, But this is probably the switch which informs it that there's a cartridge in, so if I just power it up and make that switch, hopefully the motor should run, and we'll see if we're going to get anywhere. The volume knob is 4 gang, interestingly, so it's definitely 4 channels. So what do we have in the way of wiring here? I think all the grey wires are speakers. So we have front right, rear right, front left, and presumably rear left. Yes, rear left. So the greys are all speakers. This red wire, this is presumably a fuse, I'm guessing, in here. I'm guessing that's a fuse. I'm not quite sure how you get into that fuse holder. We've got a black wire and a blue wire. The blue wire appears to be kind of separate, not in this bundle here. So where's that blue wire go? That seems to go up to this circuit board. Alright, it comes right round here, the blue wire. And across there. And to that switch. That's the switch that tells it there's a cartridge installed, and that blue wire runs directly to that. So is that maybe an external signal to maybe switch the radio off or something if the car's got a radio in it? Does the blue wire use to switch the radio out and switch the 8-track player in? I don't know. In fact, I think this blue wire is a modification because it's not in the bundle with all the other wires. There's no strain relief on it, and it's passing quite close to the motor pulley there. I think it could potentially foul it. I'm going to guess that the black wire is the negative, and the red wire is obviously going to be the positive with that fuse in it. But we can check that because it says on here negative ground only. So if the if the black wire is connected to ground, then that's the correct polarity. So let's check if this black wire is ground. Yes, it is. So that's definitely the negative, and that's going to be the positive. So let's get it wired up. Right, the power supply is set to about 10 volts with a current limit of about 600 milliamps. We're not powered up yet. I've made sure all the speaker wires, none of them are shorted. They're all just loose and not shorted out. Turn the volume down. Right, here we go. Moment of truth. Powering up now. Nothing, but I wouldn't necessarily expect anything yet because it doesn't know it's got a cartridge yet. So if we try and make it think it's got a cartridge, it's running. It's actually running. Right, power off. Let's see what happens if we push the program change button while it's running. So power up. Make it think it's got a cartridge. And track change. Oh, we're hitting the current limit on the power supply. So let's just, I tell you what, we'll knock the voltage up to about 12 volts and we'll increase the current limit to about 1 amp. Oh, the solenoid is triggering, but it's not enough oomph, so are we hitting the current limit? Yeah, we're still hitting the current limit, so let's up that to about 2.5 amps. Of course, I meant to say 1.5 amps. Yep. That's working, and I can actually see the head going up and down in there. It's only got 2 positions though. Let's give you a bit of a better view of that. So hopefully you might be able to see a bit better now, unless my finger gets in the way. Solenoid is there, and the head itself is there. So if I hopefully do this, can you still see? Just about, I think. So that does appear to be working, mechanically at least. Right, I think the next thing to try is connecting some speakers up to the output and see if we get anything at all from the amplifier. Should get some hiss or noise or something, I should think. Right, I've connected all the speaker outputs up, one output to each speaker. I've just propped it up on a mini DV tape there just to stop it sort of wobbling around on the bench. So now if I power it up, hopefully we'll get a hiss or something through the amplifier and we'll know the amplifier's working. So let's power it up and make it think it's got a cartridge in it. Actually, because of that noise, I'm just going to lift the belt off, because I want to be able to hear what's coming from the speakers rather than that buzzing noise. Probably just the capstan needs a bit of lubrication, so I'm not worried about that for the moment. Let's just see if we get any noise from the speakers. Yes, I heard a pop. That's the volume knob, I think. Oh, crikey. Yeah, they're obviously going to need some contact cleaner in them. But it sounds like at least some of the amplifiers are working. And at full volume, yes, we've got a nice hiss now. Can I tell? It's hard to tell which channels are working. Anyway, I think the next thing I'll do is get some contact cleaner in this pot. What about the others? They're all a bit noisy, aren't they? Not as bad as the volume pot, though. What's this end one? That's the tone control. Now, I don't think all the speakers are working. I can see that one. I can see the cone moving when it crackles. That one I can't see the cone moving. Of course, I've forgotten. Oh, the reason that one's not working is because the wire's dropped off, look. So that explains that one. Have any other wires dropped off? And I couldn't really tell which of these two was working, which wasn't. So I think next thing, contact cleaner on these pots and resolder that wire onto that speaker. Oh, where's my little straw gone? Oh, that's a nuisance. I'll try and find a little straw for that. Right, all the speakers are reattached now, and I've got some contact cleaner on the volume and the tone knobs, but these pots, the opening on them was a bit difficult to get at, and they weren't making too much noise anyway, so I've left those ones for the time being. Anyway, let's try this now, see if I can see all of those speaker cones moving. Oh, the pot's much cleaner. Of course, now I've cleaned the pot, I can't see the speaker cones moving. So that's sounding promising, isn't it? Not sure what that buzzing noise is. So which ones are we getting a hiss from? I'm really not sure. Should we try putting a cartridge in? With apologies to any Sid Lawrence fans, I've picked this cartridge because I think this is probably the one that I'm least likely to ever actually want to listen to out of that set. In case the machine just damages it when I put it in. Yes, I know the foam pads have completely disintegrated in this, so it's not going to be very good, but hopefully we should hear something. Now, I just want to point out this is genuinely the first time in my entire life I've ever put an 8-track cartridge into an 8-track player. So here we go. First time ever in my whole life. Oh, it's stiffer than I thought it would be. And that's kind of worked, except I've forgotten to put the belt on, haven't I? Which is a bit stupid, so let's pull that out. Let's put the belt back on. Belt back on. Right, now let's try, for the second time in my entire life, putting an 8-track cartridge into an 8-track player. Ah. That's not running because the belt's too slack, but we have audio. And is it munching up the tape? No, it's fine. Okay, let's put that back in. No, it's just not enough torque to when it's under the load of the tape. Good luck content matching that, YouTube. Now, can we see which speakers are working? Because we've got left, right, front, rear, and rear, left, right balance controls. So if I say move front full left, balance full front, we should only get front left speaker working. That is working. So if I spin that round to the right, we should now get front right working. And it is. So if I put that back in the middle for no particular reason and spin this to the rear left, we should get rear left working, which it is. And if I spin that across to the right, we should get rear right working. Oh, which it... Oh, I think we may have a tangle happening here. I heard a creaking noise there. Oh yes, unfortunately it's ruined the tape. But I think all the 4 amplifiers were working, weren't they? So that's a good thing. All the amplifiers are working. Excellent. I think the main thing I need to do now is get a replacement belt for this. I wonder if I've got one that'll fit. I'm afraid Sid Lawrence has gone in the bin. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to pop on at this point to apologise. The next little section of the video is out of focus. I think I must have accidentally switched the camcorder into manual focus, and on the little screen on the back of the camcorder I couldn't tell that it was out of focus. So the next little bit is a bit fuzzy. I didn't want to reshoot that section because it was genuinely the first time in my whole life I'd ever successfully actually played an 8-track cartridge in an 8-track player. So I wanted that to be genuine. So I've decided to keep that footage rather than reshoot it, just for the sake of authenticity. Hopefully it won't detract from your enjoyment too much, and it is only for the next couple of minutes. We'll get back into proper focus as soon as possible. Right, I couldn't find a flat belt that fitted. The only one I had was much too big, and I had one that was much too small as well. But remarkably, this little square belt, which is obviously much too thin, is actually staying on there, and it is actually running. The reason I've drawn that arrow on the flywheel is so I don't make the same mistake again and destroy another cartridge. But that little belt is actually staying on. So I'm tempted now to try another cartridge. Now I was going through these cartridges earlier on and I came to this Liberace one, and something didn't look quite right about it to me. The pinch roller seemed to be on the wrong side. I mean, the capstan's over there on the right hand side, but this pinch roller's on the left. And when I looked a bit more closely at this cartridge, I noticed this notch seemed to be on the top, and that should be on the bottom. So what they've done here is they've stuck the label on this cartridge the wrong way up. So the cartridge actually goes in that way with the label upside down. So the cartridge does actually appear to run. So shall we try and play a bit of Liberace? Bit of upside down Liberace. It's a bit wobbly because of that belt. If I get a decent belt on there, that wow and flutter will go. I think those little switch contacts need a clean, don't they? Anyway, that's working. That's the first time in my whole life I've played an 8-track cartridge. I think the next thing I'll do is connect it up to some decent speakers so I can sort of hear what the quality is like. Oh, I didn't look to see what the sponges were like in this one actually. Yeah, they've gone. There's a little bit of spring to them, but no, they've basically had it. I think all those cartridges really are going to need new spongy pads. It's working surprisingly well, isn't it, considering their foam pads have gone. Anyway, let's get some better speakers hooked up. Right, front speakers, left, right, rear speakers, left, right, all hooked up. So let's power up. And turn the volume down and don't want to deafen ourselves. Let's have a few goofy grates. Looks okay. What doesn't want to go in, does it? There we go. It's muffled probably because the felt pads have gone. So let's see. Of course we may hit content match now. Doubt it though somehow. So let's go full front. Front left. Front right is very muffled but working. Let's go to rear. Rear left. Rear left is working. Rear right is very muffled but working. I wonder if I can just stuff something in there just to get it to push against the head a bit better. Right, I've stuffed a bit of tissue in there. Hopefully that'll help it make better contact with the head and we'll get a bit of a better quality of playback. So let's try that. This cartridge doesn't want to go in. Just hiss. Ah, why are we not working? Oh, it's not. It was jammed. I could see a little mark on the tape where the pinch roller had been. Let's try that again. No, it's not pulling it through, is it? Let's try a bit less tissue. I think the tissue is just wedging the cartridge. So I've got a little tissue pad in there now, but not quite so much.
Like what's happening?
That's better.
Right, Daddy.
That sounds quite a lot better actually. Sorry, I'm switching tracks because I don't want to hit content match. Hopefully we won't.
Everybody.
What happens if I put it onto quadraphonic mode then? We just get two tracks mixed. Then we should be able to use front and rear to select between them. Oh, my belt's come off. But it was working, wasn't it? That's really good. I'm really pleased with that. I've got a belt on order. I just need to wait for that to arrive and we'll give it another proper try. Right, I fitted a new belt. The size I went for was 88mm diameter, but I think that's a little bit on the slack side still. I think I should have gone slightly smaller than that. Maybe 85mm, 86mm would have been a better fit, but having said that, if I run the motor, it seems okay and there's a reasonable amount of torque on the flywheel. So I think it should work, even though it is a little bit slack. So let's have a few more goofy grates. Doesn't want to go in though, this one, does it? Anyway, there we go. Right, the speed is still a little bit irregular, isn't it? I think that's probably because this belt is still a bit on the slack side. But that's basically working now, isn't it? I'm quite happy with that. I think I'm going to put it back together at that point. Now, I'm hoping I can do this without disconnecting all the wiring, because that would be a nuisance. So let's see if we can get the casing... power is off, by the way. Can we do this without... Yes, it looks like we can. That's good. Getting the front panel back into position turned out to be a lot more fiddly than I was expecting. The main problem was the button that switches between 2-channel and 4-channel mode didn't seem to want to line up with its hole at the same time as the knobs lining up with their holes along the top edge. So you could either have the knobs lined up with their holes and then the button wouldn't go into position, or the button was in position and then the knobs wouldn't go into their position. I did eventually manage to do it, but it took me about 8 minutes. When I'd eventually managed to get the front panel back into the right position, it was then just a matter of replacing all the screws. Right, let's power back up and try some goofy grates with it fully reassembled.
Playing a game of cricket.
Mr. Custard. No.
Sounds fine, doesn't it? So I think the next thing I'm going to do is see if I can find a quadraphonic cartridge, because none of these ones I got in the charity shop, unfortunately, are quadraphonic. So I think I'm going to hit the good old Bay of E and see if I can find a quadraphonic cartridge to try out the proper 4-channel output. Right, I've spread the front speakers out a bit and I've put the rear speakers behind the camera, so they're behind me as well, and just listening to a little bit of Upside Down Liberace there. Unfortunately, I tried to play this Songs of Hawaii tape, but it's come apart at the foil splice, annoyingly, so I'll have to do some repairs on that one, I think, or probably just put it in the bin if I'm honest. But I've been on eBay and I now have a Quadraphonic 8-track cartridge. It's called Blues on Bach and it's by the Modern Jazz Quartet. Now, not something I would have selected to listen to really, but these Quadraphonic cartridges are quite expensive. They seem to be collectible. Even this one cost me £7, and anything sort of remotely interesting like Pink Floyd or whatever is hundreds of pounds. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I'm going to try this one out with the caveat that this is not my sort of music, so we'll put it in 4-channel mode. Turn the volume up a little. Does the cartridge run? Yes, it does. So here we go. My first ever Quadraphonic 8-track cartridge. Oh, that sounds bad. It was just starting to work and the cartridge has apparently jammed. What's happened there? doesn't look right at all the way it's exiting here. Oh, there we go. Ah, we got a bit of crumpled tape. That's what's happened. So if we just get through that bit of crumpled tape, another bit of crumpled tape, hopefully we can get past this bad bit of tape. There we go. Oh no, more crumpled tape. Yeah, that looks better. No, it seems to sort of slide upwards at that point, doesn't it? Right, I'm going to have to get inside this cartridge, I think, and see what's going on. That's a shame. Well, I've managed to get into the cartridge, and that's what's happened. Where it's supposed to be coming off the inside of the reel there, a lot of layers have come up. I'm not really sure how I can recover from that, actually. Try and see if I can tuck them back in. I don't think that's going to be very successful. I think this cartridge has had it. I think the only thing I can do here is just ditch these inner loops of tape that have come out. We'll lose a bit of audio, but I don't think that's any great loss in this particular case. So I'm just going to cut that section of tape out. And if I can then just wind this tape in at this point. The tape back is very loose now, of course. That's it, I think we've got it basically working now. That's now basically working, but the tape loop is too big. So how are we going to retension that? I don't see how that's ever going to be possible. Because whatever I do, I'm just going to end up with more tape hanging out of it. I'm going to say that has defeated me. I don't know how I can do that. Oh well, I'm not going to be able to try a Quadraphonic cartridge unless someone can tell me how I can sort this problem out in the comments. But apart from that, I think I'm going to call this a qualified success. It's basically working now, isn't it? Although I wasn't able to try out the Quadraphonic, although I know it'll work. But I think what I still need to do is put a tighter belt. I think the belt I've put in there is too loose. And some of the pots and the switches still need some contact cleaner on them. And I did want to lubricate the capstan, which I didn't do. But it is fundamentally now working. And it sounds okay, actually, even with these cartridges that don't actually have any sponge pads in them. It helps if you turn it on. I mean, it's not exactly hi-fi, but it's not terrible. So I'm going to call that a qualified success. And if anyone knows how I can repair this 8-track cartridge, I won't throw it away, I'll keep it like this for now. So if you can let me know in the comments how to fix this, I'd be very grateful. Thanks very much for watching.